Okay, we're going to look at the 2001 question number 1 FRQ. And I'm not going to show the question, I'm just going to work through the answer with you. So hopefully you have that with you. First, it tells you to assume that the profit maximizing firm in a perfectly competitive industry is earning economic profits for a given market price. So draw a correctly labeled graph and show each of the following for a typical firm in a perfectly competitive industry. All right, so what you have to know is that this is a price taker, and so our demand curve is going to be perfectly elastic, and that this is your price, and we're going to label it over here your marginal revenue, which is also equal to your average revenue. All of those things are exactly the same. We are selling every single one of these at the same exact price. This is showing a profit. This one wants you to show an economic profit, and we know that. Well, first let's label these other ones, all right? So this is our marginal cost curve, and this is our average total cost curve, all right? So when the quantity that we're going to operate is always going to be where your marginal revenue equals your marginal cost. So that's this point right here. So we can label that as our quantity here. And so what we're seeing is that our revenue, our marginal revenue, is greater at that than our average total costs. And so that's how we draw that as having a profit, is when your price is greater than your average total cost. And so we can determine the amount of profit by drawing that down, and where that hits that, and then we're going to come over here, and usually it's going to ask you to shade that. So this right here is the profits. Once again, here is the price that you're selling it at that quantity. That's your average total cost. And so this area here is showing the profits. So it tells you to show your marginal revenue, which we just did. Here is our output, and then we are shading the economic profits. So that's 1A. To do B, using the information in A, draw correctly labeled side-by-side graphs of the industry and the typical firm. So this right here is always going to be our industry graph. And this one here is the one firm in that particular industry. We're going to label this. This is our supply curve. Remember, that's the short run supply curve. This is the demand curve, and this is the long run supply curve. And this is our price, and this is one firm. So we're just going to take this over and draw that. That's also our price. This is our marginal revenue, which is equal to our average revenue. This is our marginal cost curve. This is our average total cost curve. And so once again, we're showing still a profit here because we are operating at this point. This is our quantity. And so from here to here, that's going to be our profits. And we know what happens when we have profits, that there is an incentive for businesses to enter that particular industry. So it says in BI, given the existence of economic profits, show the graph how the industry adjusts the long run and explain the process that leads to the long run equilibrium. So then we're going to come over here. When we're showing profits, we are going to have firms enter that. And when we do, what's going to happen is we have an increase in supply. So this is our original supply curve. Here's our new one. Here's our new equilibrium. And so that is going to be, and we're going to bring that over here, and what we want that to end up being, and we should do it from this point. We want this to come over and adjust so that our new marginal revenue is equal to our average total cost. So that way we are operating at zero economic profits. And so it talks about for you to explain that. and I guess I just did. If anyone in a perfectly competitive industry is showing economic profits, it's an incentive for people to enter that particular industry. So we have an increase in supply, and when we do that, we're going to come over here, and so now we're going to operate at the point where our marginal revenue equals our marginal costs. Our new price is down here, and our quantity. So price is going down and quantity is going down. And that finishes up B. C, it says now assume that the government sets a price that has less than the equilibrium price but greater than the average variable cost. Indicate how each of the following will change for the typical firm and explain why the change occurs. You don't have to draw a graph for this, but because price has fallen, you should be able to identify that your, this is our new marginal revenue, and we've shown that there. Because of an increase in supply, our equilibrium price has gone down. Our marginal revenue, which is our selling price of that particular product, is going down. The level of output, once again, we're showing that on our graph. That is going to go down because the equilibrium has gone down. Our short run total costs, what we're going to indicate for that is our short run total costs are going to go down, and our short run total revenue is also going to decrease because we're producing less at that particular price, or at a lower price.